A lot of people will recognize Nancy. You know, she's all over the country. I don't know how many other countries, you know, the comic strip appears in.
80.
80 different countries.
80, yeah.
Does France happen to be one of those?
It does.
Okay.
It does.
So
from the very beginning, as a matter of fact, we've been a part of French culture since 1933. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Nancy as a character. What would you say is one of her most recognizable character features, characteristics? You know, when people read it, when people see it, what kinds of things do they learn about her?
Nancy's an 8-year-old girl who's in the 3rd grade. You know, she loves her friends. She puts up with Sluggo. Everybody knows Sluggo, and you know that you've got to put up with him. Her personality is one where she's boisterous, she's a brat, she's an angel, she's very funny, she's very, very loyal, and she's fierce. You know, she stands up for herself, she stands up for her friends. She's a strong female character.
I was looking through some of the, obviously, you know, you Google Nancy and cartoon and a bunch of things come up. She seems to, on some of the ones that I've seen, even when some of the other characters are feeling down, feeling upset about something, she always seems to look on the bright side. Does that sound accurate to you?
Yeah, I think that it's important to do that, and I look at my charge, this job I have, of putting little bits and pieces of my heart out there to the world every single day to try to make people smile. I look at that as a chance to share love, to share light, to lift people's spirits, to give them a little smile during their day. And that 10 seconds that they read the strip, that's what I want them to get out of it. So that positive energy that you get out of Nancy, that's not a mistake. That's not by accident.
What does art mean to you?
It's self-expression. It's entertainment. It's communication. I don't think that we can separate the heart of the artist from the art of the artist. It's everything that we are. We hope to be understood. We hope to entertain with the honesty that's within us. And the honesty, who we are, it pours out of our pens onto the paper.
When you say that, there are some instances that are very unfortunate. You've written about 9/11, for example. I saw a very powerful strip when the characters are all praying together. Do you think it's important to address those types of issues in a medium such as the one in which you work?
I'm not a political cartoonist. I've taught many, many, many cartoonists and writers over all of these years that have become political cartoonists. And their job is to comment on the political and the social issues of the day. But when there's a tragedy, when there's something that's touching all of our lives, that's coming into the family that maybe the family wants to talk about during their meals, or that a child might hear about and wants to know from their parent, from a grown-up, what does this mean to me? You know, is our world falling apart? That's the kind of stuff that I reach out through my comic strip and try to say something about.
So the attack in Paris, France, recently, specifically targeting Charlie Hebdo, satirical newspapers, I understand it, and some political cartoonists lost their lives. You said yourself you're not a political cartoonist, but you all are artists. You're expressing yourselves. Talk to me a little bit about how you felt, what you thought, what went through your head when you first realized that was happening.
Anger and sadness. To put it in perspective, think of the Charlie magazine as a satirical magazine here in the United States. Okay, let's just put this in perspective. Think of terrorists going into the offices of Mad magazine and killing people. That's where we need to look at this. from. This is an attack on all of our free speech, our ability to think, all of our liberties, because when we write, whether we're a political cartoonist or a cartoonist that tells stories to make people smile, to make people think, we all do the same thing. We reach into our heart, we reach into our souls, and then from our minds, the God-given gifts that we have, we speak to the things that are important to us. And we are heard around the world, and these guns have tried to silence that thought. This can never happen. This can never happen. This tragedy has happened, but these voices will not be silenced. There will be other voices that will rise up to take their place.
Do you think there's any sort of, you can't even call it a silver lining, but has any good come out of this at all?
No. I don't see any good. I don't see any good coming out of it. I do think that God teaches us lessons when there's bad things that happen, when there's tragedies that happen. And this is one of those times that we're going to learn the lesson. Maybe what we're going to do is we're going to take our freedoms more seriously. Maybe we're going to take the defense of our freedoms more seriously. We're going to realize what other cartoonists that I know throughout the world realize, that in a free society such as France and such the one in the United States, where I am so blessed to live and be able to write whatever I want to write, we need to hold these truths dear. And we need to be unafraid to speak our minds, to reach out to society, to put a mirror on society, and let that mirror reflect whatever that mirror will reflect. And the other thing is, we have to come to the realization that we are under attack. This is not a game. This is not some political football. We are under attack. Our freedoms, our freedom of speech is under attack. Like I said, imagine, there's not one person here that's listening to me tonight that didn't read Mad Magazine at some point. Imagine terrorists killing them. This is what France is dealing with as a country and as a society right now. And that is what the entire world is dealing with. We've got to pray, and we have to become more and more aware and more vigilant.
Okay, just a couple more things. I saw you were working on a piece that's right there behind you. I don't know what your process is, if you think things or see images while you're illustrating, or what that is, but can you tell me a little bit about this?
When I heard the news, I did a pencil sketch of just my hand, and it was just my hand holding up a bunch of pens and pencils, saying that I'm going to stand with my brethren who have now fallen. And I want everyone in the world, including those who would silence us, especially those who would silence us, to know that you cannot silence us all. This is mighty. This is very mighty. This morning, as I sat down and I finished the strips that I'm sending into the syndicate, I knew that you and I were going to be talking, and I wanted the folks that were going to hear me speaking to see our little girl.
Did you, what did you think? What did you feel as you were putting this together?
I started to think about all of the kids of every age, I started thinking about all the kids, all those kids that are now grown, that I've taught how to draw, how to write, given them advice on how to make it in this business. I thought about the students that are in my studio right now, and how is this going to affect them? Are they going to feel that their voice is silenced, that they can't sing their soul, that their brushes, their pens have been broken? Or are they going to take this tragedy, and is it going to make them even stronger? Is it going to give them even a more fervent voice? No matter what your age is, no matter how you speak your mind, we can never be afraid. Too many people over hundreds and hundreds of years have fought and died for that freedom.
Okay. That was all the questions I had. Anything I haven't already touched on? I think we've covered everything, but if not, just...
There is a, I would urge folks to look up gocomics.com. That's where Nancy and Peanuts and a couple of hundred other comic strips and a couple hundred other editorials are. And there will be special features showing all of us cartoonists all over the world and all over this country in support, drawing cartoons, in support, speaking out against the tragedies of the past few days. I urge you to reach out through social media and through the web and find us and support us in what we're saying.